Supreme Commander Vexthor of the Zarkani Empire stood motionless before the massive observation window of his flagship, the Eternal Dawn. His iridescent scales shifted colors in the dim light as he contemplated the blue-green planet rotating slowly before him. Earth, as its inhabitants called it, was unremarkable by galactic standards, a routine surveillance mission that should have taken no more than a standard cycle to complete. Yet something about this world troubled him. Supreme Commander, his science officer, Zira, approached with characteristic precision in her movements. Her silver scales gleamed as she presented a holographic report. Our initial assessment of the indigenous species is complete. Vexthor's secondary eyes blinked in acknowledgement, while his primary pair remained fixed on the planet. Proceed. The dominant species, self-designated as humans, have achieved industrial civilization and limited space travel, but have not developed faster-than-light capabilities. Zira began. Their technology level places them at approximately Category 3 on the Imperial Development Scale. Primitive, then, Vexthor concluded, his crest flattening slightly in disappointment. Another species barely out of their gravity well. Yes, Supreme Commander, but... Zira hesitated, her scales rippling with uncertainty. There are anomalies in our readings. This caught Vexthor's attention. All four of his eyes now focused on his science officer. Explain. While they lack FTL travel, their development in other areas is unusual. Their computer systems, for instance, are surprisingly sophisticated. We've detected evidence of artificial intelligence integration throughout their infrastructure, far beyond what we'd expect for their technological level. Vexthor's crest rose slightly. Artificial intelligence. Without FTL, that's impossible. No species develops AI before achieving faster-than-light travel. It's a fundamental progression. Nevertheless, Supreme Commander, the readings are clear. Their orbital defense systems, while primitive by our standards, show signs of advanced automation and adaptive programming. Their industrial facilities appear to be largely automated, with robots handling complex manufacturing processes. Robots. Vexthor's scales shifted to a deep blue of confusion. Show me. Zira expanded the holographic display, revealing footage captured by their stealth probes. Massive factories operated with minimal human presence, robots of various configurations performing intricate assembly tasks. Urban centers buzzed with automated transport systems. Even their orbital installations showed evidence of robotic maintenance crews working alongside human operators. This cannot be, Vexthor muttered. They're barely maintaining a presence on their own moon, yet they've mastered automation to this degree. His crest fully extended now, displaying his agitation. What of their weapons technology? Primarily kinetic and chemical-based weapons, Supreme Commander. Their most advanced weapons appear to be fusion-based devices and electromagnetic accelerators. However, Zira's scales flickered with nervous energy. The targeting systems we've detected are extraordinarily sophisticated. Their defensive networks show signs of distributed AI control, with reaction times that rival our own automated systems. Vexthor began pacing, his tail swaying in thought. A species that develops AI before achieving FTL travel. It goes against everything we know about technological progression. The implications. There's more, Supreme Commander, Zira continued. We've detected unusual patterns in their global communication networks. Their information systems are heavily encrypted, but what we can decode suggests they're aware of our presence. Vexthor stopped pacing. Impossible. Our cloaking technology is beyond their detection capabilities. Nevertheless, there has been a subtle but significant increase in their military readiness since our arrival. Their orbital platforms have adjusted their positions, and we've detected increased activity in their industrial centers. They're preparing for something, Vexthor realized. But how could they know? Unless his scales shifted to the deep purple of revelation. Their AI networks. They must have detection capabilities we didn't anticipate. What are your orders, Supreme Commander? Vexthor returned to the observation window, studying Earth with new appreciation. Continue surveillance, but increase our distance from their detection grid. I want a full analysis of their AI capabilities. If they've truly mastered artificial intelligence without achieving FTL travel, we need to understand how and why. As the Eternal Dawn adjusted its position, moving further from Earth's orbit, activity on the planet below continued unabated. In underground facilities and orbital stations, humanity's integrated defense networks continued their silent watch, gathering data on their visitors while appearing to go about routine operations. In a heavily secured facility beneath the Rocky Mountains, Dr. Sarah Chen studied the latest data streams from the global defense grid. The AI cores hummed quietly around her, processing information at speeds that would have seemed impossible just decades ago. "They're pulling back," she noted, speaking to both her human colleagues and the facility's AI interface. "They finally realized we can detect them." "Affirmative," responded Atlas, the facility's primary AI. Its voice was calm and measured, devoid of the synthetic quality that had characterized early AI speech. "Their vessel's energy signature suggests they're reassessing their approach. Probability analysis suggests they're confused by our technological development pattern." "Of course they are," Sarah smiled. "They've never encountered a species that chose to perfect AI and automation before reaching for the stars. They don't understand why we do that." "Their confusion is logical," Atlas observed. "Most species pursue faster-than-light travel as a priority, seeing it as the key to joining the galactic community. Our choice to focus on artificial intelligence and robotics before developing FTL capabilities is unprecedented in their experience." Sarah's smile widened. "Well, they're about to learn why we made that choice. Have the defense platforms completed their analysis of their ship's energy signatures?" "Analysis is at 97% completion. We've identified several potentially exploitable patterns in their shield modulation. Their technology is advanced, but their reliance on traditional development paths has made them predictable." "Good," Sarah nodded, watching as more data streamed across her holographic displays. "How are the new defensive algorithms coming along?" "The distributed defense network has achieved a 99.98% success rate in simulated encounters based on observed Zarkeni technology. The adaptive nature of our systems continues to provide advantages they haven't anticipated." Sarah leaned back in her chair, contemplating the implications. Humanity had made a conscious choice decades ago to perfect artificial intelligence and automation before pursuing faster-than-light travel, while other species reached for the stars first. Humanity had turned inward, focusing on developing technologies that would make them truly ready for the challenges of space. The result was a civilization that appeared primitive at first glance, with limited space travel and seemingly basic weapons. But beneath that surface lay networks of advanced AI systems, automated factories that could reconfigure themselves in hours, and defensive systems that learned and adapted faster than any purely organic command structure could manage. "They think we're primitive because we can't travel faster than light," Sarah mused. "They don't realize we chose this path deliberately. We wanted to be ready, truly ready, before we stepped onto the galactic stage." "Their misconception provides tactical advantages," Atlas noted. "Their current behavior suggests they view us as a minimal threat, despite the evidence of our technological sophistication in other areas." "Pride comes before a fall," Sarah quoted, watching as more data poured in from the global defense network. "If they decide to move against us, they're going to learn it the hard way." As if in response to her words, new alerts began flashing across her displays. The Zarkeni ship was adjusting its position again, its energy emissions suggesting increased activity in its sensor arrays. "They're beginning a more detailed scan of our systems," Atlas reported. "Their energy signatures suggest they're preparing for a prolonged observation period." Sarah nodded, unsurprised. "Let them watch. Every scan they make, every bit of data they gather, just gives our systems more information to work with. Time is on our side." Above the Earth, the Eternal Dawn continued its surveillance, its crew unaware that they were dealing with a civilization that had chosen a very different path to the stars. They had yet to realize that humanity's apparent primitive status was not a sign of weakness, but the result of a carefully considered strategy that would soon reshape their understanding of technological development. The stage was set for a confrontation that would demonstrate why humanity had chosen to perfect the power of the mind before reaching for the stars. Deep beneath the Pacific Ocean, in a facility known only as Deep Harbor, Colonel James Rodriguez watched as massive manufacturing units reconfigured themselves with fluid precision. Robotic arms danced in perfect synchronization, converting raw materials into components for Earth's defense systems. The sight still amazed him, even after 15 years overseeing humanity's underwater production facilities. "Status report," he commanded, his voice carried clearly through the facility's AI interface. "Production efficiency at 98.7%, responded Poseidon, the facility's AI coordinator. "Current output is exceeding projected requirements by 12%. The new quantum-enhanced targeting systems are being manufactured ahead of schedule." Rodriguez nodded, studying the holographic displays that surrounded his command center. Deep Harbor was just one of dozens of similar facilities scattered across Earth's oceans, all working in concert to prepare for what increasingly seemed like an inevitable confrontation. "What's the latest on our visitors?" he asked, bringing up a new set of displays showing orbital tracking data. "The Zarkani vessel continues its observation pattern," Poseidon reported. "They've launched 3 new stealth probes in the past 6 hours. All have been tagged and are being fed controlled data streams." Rodriguez allowed himself a small smile. The aliens thought they were being clever with their stealth technology, unaware that Earth's AI networks had cracked their cloaking signatures within hours of their arrival. Every probe they launched was now being used to feed them carefully crafted misinformation. And their main vessel, still maintaining its position beyond lunar orbit, their energy emissions suggest they're conducting deep scans of our orbital infrastructure. They appear particularly interested in our automated maintenance systems. A new alert flashed across one of the displays, drawing Rodriguez's attention. "What's this?" "Message from Dr. Chen at Mountain Complex," Poseidon explained. "The latest analysis of Zarkani communications suggests they're preparing to contact their central command. They seem confused by their findings." "I bet they are," Rodriguez chuckled. "Show me the production statistics for the lunar facilities." New data streams appeared, showing the status of humanity's hidden manufacturing centers on the far side of the moon. While the Zarkani focused their attention on Earth's visible infrastructure, the lunar facilities had been working at maximum capacity, producing components for weapon systems that no alien race would expect from a primitive civilization. Lunar Production Base Alpha reports completion of the first batch of adaptive shield emitters, Poseidon announced. They've already begun integration testing with the AI cores. Good. And the quantum entanglement communicators. Production proceeding as planned. Current estimates suggest we'll have enough units to equip all major defense installations within 14 days. Rodriguez leaned back in his chair, considering the bigger picture. When humanity had first detected signs of advanced alien civilizations 20 years ago, they had made a crucial decision. Instead of rushing to develop faster-than-light travel and announce their presence to the galaxy, they had chosen to build their strength quietly, focusing on technologies that would give them unique advantages. The development of true artificial intelligence had been the key. While other races had apparently treated AI as a supplement to their existing technologies, humanity had made it the foundation of everything they built. Their AIs weren't just tools. They were partners in humanity's advancement, integrated into every aspect of their civilization. "Sir," Poseidon interrupted his thoughts, "we're receiving a priority transmission from Atlas at Mountain Complex." "Put it through." Dr. Chen's holographic image appeared before him, her expression serious. "Colonel, we've decoded more of their internal communications. It's worse than we thought. The Zarkani, they're not just an exploration vessel. They're part of something they call the Integration Fleet." Rodriguez's expression hardened. Explain. They're advanced scouts for a larger force. Their mission is to identify civilizations that could be useful to their empire. Those they deem worthy are given a choice: join willingly or be conquered. Those they consider primitive are simply removed. And how do they categorize us? Based on their communications, they're still debating. Our lack of FTL technology marks us as primitive, but our AI and automation capabilities have them concerned. They can't reconcile the disparity in our development. Rodriguez stood, walking to the massive reinforced windows that looked out into the dark ocean depths. Massive automated construction units moved through the water beyond, their lights creating an artificial dawn in the abyss. How long until they make their decision? Atlas estimates between 3 to 5 days, based on their communication patterns. They're waiting for instructions from their central command. Then we have 3 days to finish our preparations, Rodriguez declared. How ready are we? Dr. Chen consulted something off-screen. The global defense grid is at 94% capacity. The lunar facilities have completed 87% of the planned weapon systems. The orbital platforms can be fully armed and activated within 6 hours. And the special project? A slight smile crossed Chen's face. Project Prometheus is ready. The moment they make an aggressive move, we can deploy it. Rodriguez nodded slowly. Project Prometheus was humanity's ace in the hole. A weapons system that combined their most advanced AI technology with quantum mechanics in ways the Zarkani couldn't begin to understand. They expected railguns and nuclear weapons from a primitive species. They would get something very different. Sir, Poseidon interrupted again. New activity detected from the Zarkani vessel. They're powering up their long-range communications array. Looks like they're about to make their report to Central Command, Chen observed. Want to bet how they'll describe us? No bet, Rodriguez replied. But I hope they decide we're primitive. It'll make things easier in the long run. Easier for us, maybe, Chen smiled. Not so much for them. As if to emphasize her words, another group of massive robots moved past the window, carrying components for weapons that would soon defend Earth's orbital space. In facilities across the planet and moon, humanity's AI networks continued their silent work, preparing defenses that would soon shock an overconfident alien empire. The Zarkani thought they were observing a primitive species taking its first stumbling steps into space. Instead, they were watching humanity complete preparations for a confrontation that would reshape the galaxy's understanding of technological development. Their mistake wasn't in underestimating humanity's current capabilities. It was in failing to understand why humans had chosen their unique path to the stars. Soon, they would learn the cost of that mistake. Supreme Commander Vexthor stood before the tactical display aboard the Eternal Dawn, his scales shifting to the deep red of anticipation. The response from Central Command had been clear. Earth's unusual development pattern made it a potential threat. The humans would be given one chance to submit to Integration Fleet Authority. If they refused, they would be eliminated. Launch the command fleet, he ordered. As he spoke, space rippled behind his vessel as 30 Zarkani warships emerged from fold space, their hulls gleaming with power. Each ship was a masterpiece of advanced technology, capable of reducing continents to ash. Fleet formation complete, Supreme Commander, his tactical officer reported. All ships report weapons and shields at maximum capacity. Open a channel to their primitive defense network, Vexthor commanded. Let's give them their chance to surrender. The communications officer worked his controls, but frowned. Sir, we're having difficulty establishing a connection. Their communication systems are not responding as expected. Unsurprising. Vexthor's secondary eyes blinked in dismissal. Their technology is barely functional by our standards. Force a connection through their primary satellites. Moments later, a holographic image appeared before him. Dr. Sarah Chen stood calmly in what appeared to be a command center, her expression neutral. This is Supreme Commander Vexthor of the Zarkani Integration Fleet, he announced. Your species has been evaluated and found wanting. However, we offer you the opportunity to submit to our authority. Your artificial intelligence technology shows promise. Submit, and we will guide your development along proper lines. Chen's expression didn't change. Thank you for your offer, Supreme Commander. However, we must decline. Earth's space and sovereignty are not open for negotiation. Vexthor's scales rippled with amusement. You don't appear to understand your situation. Look behind my ship. That is merely one battle group of the integration fleet. We could reduce your civilization to atoms within hours. We understand perfectly, Chen replied. You don't. Atlas, initiate Defense Protocol Omega. Before Vexthor could respond, alerts blared across his bridge. His tactical officer's scales paled to pure white. Supreme Commander, multiple energy signatures detected. The humans' orbital platforms, they're not just maintenance stations. The seemingly primitive orbital structures that dotted Earth's space were transforming. Maintenance arms revealed themselves as weapon mounts, satellite arrays reconfigured into defense screens, and throughout it all, streams of data flowed between them, coordinated by AI systems that operated at speeds the Zarkani had never imagined possible. Impossible, Vexthor breathed. Their technology level. They shouldn't be capable of this. Launch the first wave, he ordered, pushing aside his shock. Show them what real warships can do. 10 Zarkani vessels surged forward, their weapon systems charging. They were met with a response that defied their every expectation. Earth's orbital defense grid came alive. But instead of the crude kinetic weapons the Zarkani expected, they encountered something entirely different. Quantum-entangled particle beams lanced out from multiple platforms simultaneously, their attacks coordinated by AI systems that could predict and respond to Zarkani maneuvers before they even began. 3 ships hit, the tactical officer reported, his voice rising in panic. Their weapons, they're bypassing our shields somehow. Impossible, Vexthor roared. Their technology level was a deception. Chen's image still stood calmly before him. We knew you were coming. Not you specifically, but someone like you. We knew that eventually, humanity would encounter advanced alien civilizations. That's why we chose our path carefully. As she spoke, more defense platforms activated. The Zarkani ships found themselves caught in a web of quantum-linked weapons fire, each shot guided by artificial intelligence that learned and adapted with every passing second. Launch all ships, Vexthor commanded. Full attack pattern. Show these primitives the true power of the integration fleet. The remaining Zarkani vessels surged forward, their weapons blazing. Energy beams and plasma torpedoes streaked toward Earth's defenses. But the orbital platforms moved with impossible precision, their actions coordinated by AI networks that had spent years preparing for exactly this scenario. Sir, his science officer called out. Their defensive movements, they're showing signs of predictive analysis. They're reacting to our attacks before we launch them. Secondary wave of platforms detected, another officer reported. They're launching from the lunar surface. Hidden installations on the moon's far side had activated, revealing weapons systems that the Zarkani scans had never detected. More quantum-entangled beams lanced out, catching the alien ships in a devastating crossfire. 5 more ships lost. The tactical officer's scales had gone completely white. Their weapons, they're learning from each hit, adapting their attack patterns. Vexthor watched in horror as his fleet was systematically dismantled by defenses that should not have existed. The humans hadn't just developed AI. They had integrated it into every aspect of their defense systems in ways the Zarkani had never considered possible. You focused on the wrong metrics, Chen explained, still eerily calm. You saw our limited space travel and assumed we were primitive. You never asked why a species capable of true AI would choose not to develop FTL technology immediately. Why? Vexthor found himself asking, even as another of his ships erupted in a quantum-fueled explosion. Why would you delay reaching for the stars? Because we wanted to be ready when we got there, Chen replied. We chose to perfect our defensive capabilities first, to develop technologies that would protect us from exactly the kind of civilization you represent. Your mistake wasn't in underestimating our current capabilities. It was in assuming we thought about technology the same way you do. As if to emphasize her words, Project Prometheus activated. Quantum fields materialized around the remaining Zarkani vessels, created by technologies that violated everything they thought they knew about physics. Inside these fields, time itself seemed to stutter and slow, leaving the alien ships vulnerable to the precise, AI-guided attacks that followed. Signal the retreat, Vex Thor finally ordered, watching as his mighty fleet was reduced to scattered debris by weapons he barely understood. All ships, emergency fold space jump. The surviving Zarkani vessels, less than a third of their original number, vanished into fold space. They left behind a graveyard of destroyed warships and a civilization they had grievously underestimated. That's the problem with assumptions. Chen's final transmission followed them as they fled. Sometimes they come back to haunt you. Colonel Rodriguez stood in the command center of humanity's first true warship, the TNS Prometheus. The vessel had been hidden within the asteroid belt, its construction masked by what the Zarkani had dismissed as simple mining operations. Now, as Earth's defenders cleared the orbital debris from their victory, it was time to reveal another of humanity's carefully prepared surprises. All systems check complete, reported Hyperion, the ship's eye commander. Quantum drive is stable. Shield harmonics are optimal. Combat systems are fully operational. Rodriguez studied the holographic displays surrounding his command station. The Prometheus wasn't just humanity's first warship. It was a revolutionary design that integrated every technological advancement they had developed over the past 2 decades. Dr. Chen, are you receiving our telemetry? He asked. Crystal clear. Chen's hologram appeared beside him. Atlas is already processing the data. The quantum entanglement communicators are working perfectly. You'll have real-time tactical support from Earth's entire AI network, no matter how far you travel. Status of the tracking systems. We're following the Zarkani retreat vectors now, Chen replied. They're headed for what appears to be a major fleet base, about 30 light-years from here. Atlas has already mapped multiple approach vectors that should keep you undetected. Rodriguez nodded. The Prometheus wasn't just a warship. It was humanity's first faster-than-light capable vessel. But unlike the Zarkani's fold space technology, it used an entirely different approach, one based on quantum mechanics and AI control systems. Hyperion, begin quantum drive initialization sequence, he ordered. Let's show them why humanity chose to perfect AI before reaching for the stars. The massive ship hummed with power as its quantum drive engaged. Unlike conventional FTL systems, which tried to brute force their way through spacetime, the Prometheus used its AI systems to calculate and exploit quantum uncertainties, effectively probability surfing through spacetime itself. Quantum field stabilize, Hyperion reported, ready to initiate translocation. Remember, Chen cautioned, you'll be operating in their territory. They may be disorganized after their defeat here, but they're still dangerous. That's counting on it. Rodriguez smiled grimly. Time to show them what happens when you threaten Earth. Hyperion, execute quantum jump. Space twisted around the Prometheus in ways that defied conventional physics. When reality stabilized, they were 20 light-years from Earth, deep in Zarkani space. Jump successful, Hyperion announced. All systems nominal. Stealth systems engage. The Prometheus's stealth technology was unlike anything the Zarkani had encountered. Instead of trying to hide their energy signatures, they used quantum fields to make their ship exist in a state of probability, making it nearly impossible to detect or target. Multiple Zarkani vessels detected, Hyperion reported. They appear to be regrouping after their retreat from Earth. Their communications suggest they're preparing for a larger retaliatory strike. Not if we can help it, Rodriguez declared. Show me their fleet positions. Holographic displays materialized, showing dozens of Zarkani warships gathered around a massive space station. Their sensors were actively scanning for threats, but they were looking for conventional ships using conventional technology. They still haven't figured it out, Chen observed through the quantum link. They're watching for fold space signatures. They have no idea we're using completely different principles. Their mistake, Rodriguez replied. Hyperion, deploy the quantum probes. Dozens of small devices emerged from the Prometheus, each one guided by its own AI subsystem. Like the main ship, they existed in a quantum probability state, making them virtually undetectable until the moment they struck. Probes in position, Hyperion announced. Ready to initiate Protocol Osiris. Rodriguez took a deep breath. What they were about to do would change the balance of power in this region of space forever. Execute. The quantum probes activated simultaneously, their effects devastating. Instead of conventional weapons, they created localized fields that altered the fundamental properties of spacetime around key Zarkani ships and installations. Weapon systems suddenly found themselves operating in spaces where physics worked slightly differently. Shield generators tried to protect against attacks that came from probability states they couldn't detect. Multiple ships disabled, Hyperion reported with clinical precision. Their primary fleet base is experiencing cascading systems failures. Their fold space generators are going offline. Through the quantum entanglement link, Earth's AI network provided real-time analysis and tactical updates. The Zarkani were trying to fight back, but their weapons passed harmlessly through probability states where the Prometheus wasn't quite existing at that moment. They're launching fighters, Hyperion announced. Conventional energy weapons and guided projectiles. Show them our point defense systems, Rodriguez ordered. The Prometheus's defensive grid activated, controlled by AI systems that could track and respond to threats across multiple probability states simultaneously. Incoming fire simply failed to connect, while precision quantum beams reduced Zarkani fighters to scattered atoms. Sir, Hyperion's voice carried a note of satisfaction. We're receiving transmissions from the Zarkani command station. They're requesting communication. Put them through. A holographic image appeared, showing a Zarkani admiral, his scales pale with shock. This is impossible. You're a primitive species. You shouldn't be capable of this level of technology. You made assumptions about our capabilities based on your own prejudices, Rodriguez replied calmly. You saw our lack of fold space technology and decided we were primitive. You never stopped to consider that we might have developed in a completely different direction. What do you want? The Admiral demanded. Simple. You're going to call off your planned retaliation against Earth. Then we're going to have a discussion about redefining the relationship between our civilizations. One where you don't get to decide who's primitive based on your limited understanding of technological development. As if to emphasize his words, another wave of quantum probes activated, creating zones of altered physics around the remaining Zarkani ships. Not destroying them, but demonstrating just how helpless they were against humanity's technology. They're standing down, Hyperion reported. All weapons systems powering down. They're requesting terms. Rodriguez nodded, allowing himself a small smile. Send word back to Earth. Tell them Phase 1 is complete. It's time to show the galaxy that there's more than one path to the stars. Through the quantum link, he could sense Earth's AI network already preparing for the next phase, not just defending humanity, but reshaping the galaxy's understanding of what technological advancement could mean. The Grand Council chamber of the Zarkani Central Command had never hosted a human before. Now, 6 months after the battle that had shaken the Empire's confidence, Dr. Sarah Chen stood before their assembled leadership. The massive chamber, with its soaring crystalline spires and hovering platforms, was designed to intimidate visitors. But Chen remained perfectly composed, her expression neutral as she faced the Zarkani High Council. Supreme Overlord Vaxthor, leader of the Zarkani Empire and uncle to the humbled Commander Vexthor, leaned forward on his crystalline throne. His scales shifted through patterns of deep blue and purple, colors of confusion and reluctant respect. "Your species continues to confound us," he admitted, his voice carrying through the chamber. "In all our history, we have never encountered a civilization that developed as yours has." "That's precisely why we chose our path," Chen replied. Behind her, a holographic display activated, showing the history of human technological development. "When we first discovered evidence of advanced civilizations in space, we had a choice to make." The display showed Earth's early space program, then shifted to show the development of artificial intelligence and quantum technology. "We could have rushed to develop faster than light travel, to join the galactic community as quickly as possible." Many argued for exactly that. "As you should have," one of the council members interjected. "It is the natural path of advancement." "Natural according to whose standards?" Chen challenged. "We looked at the problem differently. We ask ourselves, what happens when a less advanced civilization meets a more advanced one? History, our history, showed us that such meetings rarely end well for the less advanced society." The display shifted, showing humanity's careful, methodical development of AI systems, quantum technology, and advanced robotics. "So we chose a different path. Instead of rushing to reach the stars, we focused on developing technologies that would ensure our survival once we got there." "By developing weapons," another council member accused. "By developing understanding," Chen corrected. "Our AI networks don't just control weapons. They help us understand the fundamental nature of reality in ways your conventional development path never explored. We didn't just create artificial intelligence. We made it an integral part of human civilization." She gestured, and a holographic display expanded, showing the quantum probability fields that had proven so effective against Zarkani technology. "Your fold space technology is impressive, but it's brute force, pushing through space-time. Our quantum drive surfs probability itself, guided by AI systems that can process possibilities faster than organic minds can comprehend." Supreme Overlord Vaxthor's scales shifted to a deep green of contemplation. "And now, having demonstrated your power, what do you want?" "A new understanding," Chen replied. "One based on mutual respect, not assumptions about what constitutes proper technological development. Earth is willing to share its advances in AI and quantum technology. In return, we want access to your fold space technology and astronomical databases. You would trust us with your AI technology." Vaxthor seemed surprised. "After we tried to conquer you." Chen smiled. "Our A's have already analyzed your species extensively. You're not evil, just set in your ways. You've followed the same technological development path for so long that you forgot there might be other viable approaches." She turned to address the entire council. "Humanity's path to the stars was different because we chose to be ready for what we'd find when we got here. We developed AI not just as a tool, but as a partner in our advancement. We explored quantum mechanics not just as a scientific curiosity, but as a fundamental way to interact with reality." The display shifted again, showing the potential integration of human and Zarkani technology. "Together, we could develop technologies neither of our species could create alone. Your mastery of fold space combined with our quantum probability manipulation, your energy weapons guided by our AI networks." "And if we refuse?" one council member asked. "Then we go our separate ways," Chen replied calmly. "Earth has demonstrated that we can defend ourselves. We don't seek conquest. We never did. We simply want the freedom to develop in our own way, and the opportunity to share knowledge with those willing to look past their preconceptions." Supreme Overlord Vaxthor was silent for a long moment, his scales shifting through various colors as he considered. Finally, they settled on the gold of decision. "Your species has taught us a valuable lesson about assumptions and the dangers of rigid thinking. The Zarkani Empire accepts your proposal." He rose from his throne, addressing the entire council. "Let it be recorded that from this day forward, the human species is recognized not as primitive, but as teachers of a new way. Their different path to the stars has shown us that there is much we still have to learn. Through her quantum entanglement link, Chen could sense the approval of Earth's AI network. Atlas, Hyperion, and all the others had already calculated the probable outcomes of this meeting, but seeing it unfold in reality was still satisfying. "There's an old saying on Earth," Chen told the assembly. "The journey is as important as the destination." Humanity's journey to the stars took longer because we chose to be thorough, to be ready. Now that we're here, we look forward to showing the galaxy that there are always alternative paths to progress. As she spoke, quantum probability fields flickered briefly around the chamber, a subtle reminder of humanity's capabilities, but also a promise of the advances that cooperation could bring. The Zarkani Empire had learned that true primitiveness wasn't about the level of technology, but about the inability to imagine different ways of progress. And in orbit above their capital world, the Titan's Prometheus maintained its quantum probability state, a silent guardian ensuring that this new understanding would be given a chance to flourish. Humanity had reached the stars in their own way, at their own pace, and now they would help reshape the galaxy's understanding of what progress could mean.